I just have a natural interest in family history. I've been involved in it quite a long time. I run a small family history group, and I just love a new challenge. I've done one or two projects before, and it doesn't matter what it's about. It's just who's behind it, finding who's involved. Well, basically, I've started off with Ancestry's criminal register, and worked backwards. I think it goes up to 1892 and started going backwards. Presently, I'm up to 1840, but I will go back further. And then through a combination of that, searching for certain key words, like sodomy, buggery, unnatural offences, whatever, it becomes relatively easy to spot them amongst the offence lists, which are all handwritten, and the quality of that varies considerably, but you do learn to spot them quite easily, although I hope I've not missed any. And then I go on to find my past, which has a lot of newspaper articles, but where the criminal register doesn't show the origin of the person involved, so you have to look wider than the local newspapers, which does make it rather more difficult. But when you do find a bit of an article, it does give you a bit more detail sometimes. Well, I'm not surprised that it does occur in sort of predominantly male environments. That's not a surprise at all, from what I've heard in my lifetime about what goes on in the pit baths and such like. So it's not really a surprise that way. One of the biggest surprises, going back in time, is that there was actually a death sentence for it, which seems absolutely extraordinary these days. The ones I've come across admittedly have been commuted to transportation for life or something like that, or 15 years or whatever, but it's incredible to think how attitudes have changed.
Yeah, it is.
Well, as an ex-bobby, that's, you've got to have the actual evidence, and that's not always possible. And strangely enough, I've come across that there's not always a couple prosecuted. You will quite often find just one, so you don't really know which party was actually captured or let off, or what happened. I think that was part of the hypocrisy then as well, though, because if you look back in time, especially the higher classes, there some quite debauched goings on really, but they didn't like to think especially of the lower classes enjoying themselves in any way. Well, when you're going through the criminal registers, the pettiness of some of the other crimes that you see is absolutely mind-blowing, and it is just someone imposing their will on somebody else basically, and I think this is just another part of it really, but some got away with it and some didn't. I think it's just a case that we've all become a little more open-minded. Some are more tolerant of it than others, but that's always been the case. I don't really see that being any different.